Welcome back to Valley View Living. Hi, my name is Megan. I have 6 kids under the age of 14. We live out in the country in New South Wales, Australia, and here we are trying to grow and cook and forage and raise as much food for the table as we can. Now, of course, I am experimenting with sourdough right now, and I'm sorry if I'm boring you with this, but I am so intrigued at the different ways that I can use the starter in the kitchen. So today I'm going to use some of this sourdough starter to make flatbreads. So we're going to use these flatbreads to turn into, well, basically the inspiration was a burrito style lunch. I haven't bought taco wraps. What word am I thinking of? Tortillas. I haven't bought tortillas for a while. We seem to eat them so quickly. I really do need to buy them in bulk. So again, it's just a matter of waiting for the grocery budget to stretch to buying in bulk with the tortillas I like. And until then, hey, it's fun to experiment and try out these flatbreads instead. And I will link you to the recipe that I used in the description box below. Now, before I get too far into the video, I just want to give a huge thank you to my members here on my channel. Thank you for supporting my creative work here on YouTube, and everybody who watches, of course. But just a very special thank you to my members. It really does mean a lot that you're investing in my work in this way. And on a similar note, I just wanted to let you all know about my new newsletter. That is an email newsletter that I can send out to you if you want to sign up over at Substack. Now, the way that I am running my newsletter is there is a free email that is basically just my reflections on homesteading and life around the farm and family life, those kinds of things. That is sent out to you free once a week on the weekends. And then if you want to sign up and become a paid member to Substack, then I am also sending out a second newsletter midweek, which is a lot more kitchen focused. And this is where I talk about food and meal planning and reflect on meals that we've eaten, producers that I am looking at buying products from, just all things foodie. There will be occasional recipes in there, things like that. So if that is of interest to you, just hit the link in the description box below and I'll see you over there. Now, this is something that has been lurking in my fridge for a little while, is this halloumi. I love the way that halloumi really stretches. I can fry up 1 pack of halloumi and have a fried egg on the side, and that can serve my whole family for a meal, at least all of the people in my family who will eat halloumi, which is a good 2/3 of them, because this cheese is just so filling. It feels so like, I don't know how to put it, nutritious, nutrient dense, I suppose cheese is. So it does end up quite economical, really. And I mean, we can just have eggs for breakfast, maybe some toast as well. But sometimes having a little something else on the side just relieves a bit of the monotony of eggs. So we have eggs all the time for breakfast. You know, probably 6 out of 7 days a week are egg-based. So, yeah, it's nice to just have something that sits in the fridge and you can pull it out when you want something different. So right after breakfast, and this is just part of my daily routine at the moment, is to take out my sourdough that has been doing the overnight fridge ferment. And then I'm just going to score the top of this loaf, get it into a really hot oven, and that way we have fresh bread for later in the day. Now, we are greatly enjoying this fresh sourdough right from the oven, but I do have to be careful because it is so enjoyable and bread in itself is so filling. I'm finding personally that I am having some of my bread when it's right out of the oven and it's delicious, but then I'm not hungry for another meal or for something that might actually be better for me and fuel my body more. Then essentially, of course, this is fermented white flour. I'm not using whole grain at the moment. I'm not grinding my own grains at home or anything like that. So the nutritional profile of white flour is, well, it's not really that high, is it? So I just have to be careful that I'm not allowing even sourdough goods to displace other nutrient-dense choices in my diet, like vegetables and, salads and fruits and meats, all that kind of thing. And all that to say is that bread is so yummy, it is so hard not to eat it when it's right there in your face. I need more self-control. So over to farming and weather news. Hooray! It has rained. We have a lovely rainfall this past week with over 10 mil of rain in just one night. And that was just enough to drench the pasture and water the veggie patch, which has been dry and very wanting for a while now. But one crop that I'm surprised has been so happy in even quite a long dry period is tomatoes. So my tomato tomatoes have come up very well. I think there's 10 or 11 plants that are strong, and I have not watered them at all since planting them, and yet, yeah, they're thriving out there. So I'm very happy about that. And we have also just dug up the former carrot bed. I've given up on the carrots. They're either being plucked out of the ground by birds or they're being nibbled on and eaten by mice. So I quit. I have just dug up that patch and filled it with the potatoes that my fingers were crossed, hoping to dig up a big spot of lawn to plant. Now, I didn't get around to that this season. I probably knew that I wouldn't. There's always too many other things to juggle, but I have put in a good, I'm going to say 2 meters by 1 meter square of potatoes, and I will look forward to harvesting that in the months to come. So I have put together a video about working sourdough into your daily routine. If that's something that interests you, I will just pop a link down to that video below. Now, with these flatbreads for lunch, I've just left the dough fermenting on the bench top for the morning. I pop that dough together in the morning around breakfast time, and then it's just sat here until lunchtime. And I feel like if I have a sourdough doing something on the bench, or some kind of dough, anything really, then I can always put together a meal that will feed everybody quite quickly and with very little imagination, which is something that I find as busy parents, it's good to cut down on decision making around things that don't need our brain power that much. So, of course, feeding your family is important, and it does take energy and it does take thought and planning as well. But when you're executing so many meals for so many people, it's also nice to have meals that can be done on autopilot, things that you know are going to be a crowd pleaser, that are pulled together with staples that you have in your fridge and your pantry, and things that people will eat and enjoy. So things like having this flatbread just makes it easy for me to know that everybody's going to eat this. It's also going to be filling. We've got our home-raised beef here, so I'm going to fry that up with very simple flavorings. It's going to be some garlic, some salt, some pepper, paprika. These are all just seasonings that mean that the beef mince, any that's left over, can be easily turned into different meals and not wasted. Now, all this flatbread needs is a little bit of olive oil on a hot pan. I like to have it quite hot. That way they cook up quickly and I'm not standing there for very long getting these done. Then you can see that the consistency of the dough is just a real pleasure to work with. It is not overly sticky or difficult. It is really just beautifully pliable and soft. These really were a pleasure to work with and absolutely delicious as well. I like how easy it is to be flexible with a meal like this, as long as I have some form of protein around. We will also have something that is tasty and good in a wrap, like we have grated cheese put out there. I've got sour cream for people who enjoy that. We have got some salad leaves rustled up from the fridge and some pickled jalapeno. And of course, there's other things as well if there are things people would prefer, things like olives or pickles. Yeah, whatever there is, they can pull out and they can put on their wrap. And the other nice thing about a simple flatbread like this is if you have kids who aren't that keen on a burrito style for lunch or kebab or whatever you want to call this, they can just have it with peanut butter. They can put some peanut butter and jam on it. They can put butter on it. Whatever. Everybody's fed. That makes this mum happy. Now, I find it very handy to fry up a kilogram of beef mince here at a time. For my family of 8, we are not going to eat all of this in this simple lunch. It's quite frugal, really. So we're going to save the rest of this beef mince. And because the seasoning is so flexible, I can use this in so many different ways. Another nice way to have beef mince like this is to heat it up, reheat it, pop it on a baked potato with some cheese and some sour cream, and that is another good, yummy meal for your family. My husband quite enjoys the cooked beef in eggs for breakfast in the morning. And of course, if you want to, you can really do anything. You can put it into a curry sauce. You can put it into a spaghetti dish, a bolognese dish, anything. I just find if I have it cooked there in the fridge, it is so easy to whip up a taco with it, nachos, anything like that, and it just cuts down on a little bit of thinking and cooking, of course. Cook once, eat multiple times. That is a great way to look at your kitchen. Look at the way this flatbread is just puffing up over that heat. I love it. It was so light but chewy because of the sourdough. It was very nice. Now, another way I've been using the starter also is in crepes. I will share that recipe as well. My kids love crepes. I love to give them crepes because rather than pancakes, crepes are so much higher protein. I can actually make a dish of crepes here. The recipe can be 8 eggs and of course milk, and then it's just starter as well and some butter. That means that each child who is having a crepe is actually eating a whole egg with their breakfast as well. They just don't know it. And if you have any children who are egg phobes, it can be wonderful to become familiar with those recipes that are yummy and that taste like just pancakes or something simple like that, but is actually filling them up with egg as well. Something I am planning on becoming more proficient with storing and cooking in the months to come here is beans. Now, I find that beans are not as commonly used in Australian dishes as, say, maybe legumes and chickpeas and pulses. Perhaps that's that Asian influence on our cooking here more so than the Mexican or American style dishes, where you seem to have a lot of beans and rice and bean dishes. I'm really intrigued to try these and get familiar with the spicing on these dishes because they just seem so frugal and a great way to feed a crowd. I personally do love beans. I really enjoy them, but we are more commonly using lentils in curries and things like that. So I'm very familiar with that, but I want to get to know the different styles of cooking with different seasonings. So if you know any great bean dishes for me to start out on, please let me know. I am really keen to try that. Now, I think I go into this a little deeper in my newsletter, but in the management of pigs and backyard pork on our farm, we are still designing the infrastructure in a way that will make eating pork sustainable ongoing for our family, so as in raising enough for the table and managing to keep brothers and sisters separate, boars and sows, all that kind of breeding stuff, which takes a lot of thought, energy, and effort. We're still working towards things being smooth, and to be fair, they probably never will be perfectly smooth. There will always be something to overcome. But at the moment, we just have Sally and her litter of piglets. We have the females left. They free range on the farm, as you can see here. They are just foraging under the fruit trees and getting into what they can, which is wonderful for them, of course. It's a beautiful, healthy way for them to live, which means it's a beautiful, healthy way for us to consume meat. Now, the size of those piglets you can see there, we have actually processed the brothers in this batch already. Now, I don't even know how much meat that netted. It was not much, of course, because they were young. But the reason why we are doing that is because we need to keep males separated from females. Pigs are not picky in procreation, shall we say. So the little mini bacon side that I have just popped on the smoker there, that is a result of one of these male pigs. Now the bacon is, well, it's delicious. I'll show you a little bit at the end of this video. It's very simple as well. You're simply curing the bacon side in the fridge with seasonings and flavorings that you enjoy. Then we're popping that in for, actually that's a cold smoke, and I'm going to keep it in there for maybe just 2 hours for this size of little mini bacon side. And then, the thing is that you don't have to be overly careful with these processes if you're just making a fridge bacon like I am, which means that I am not smoking it or curing it to be shelf stable at this point. I know that it's not going to last long enough. Such a tiny amount of bacon with the amount of people in my family, this bacon was gone. Oh, I think I might have stored some in the freezer, which will be good for flavoring a soup or a broth or something like that. But most of this was eaten, fried up, sliced, and just eaten with relish. Not literal relish, just enjoyment in the days following. And I do understand if from a distance eating these pigs might seem, I don't know, confronting, but it's the nature of life. Humans eat things that were alive, and I know that these animals, these pigs, never knew a day of struggle, suffering, or difficulty. As we like to say in dealing with animal husbandry at home, they have one bad day, and it's not even really that, because it's not a day, it's a moment, and I don't even know how present they are for that. It is so quick, and we do our very best. And then the animals that we raise with love go to feed my family, and we appreciate every part of the process, and I think that's the very best that we can do in raising animals. So thank you for going along with me on my homesteading and homemaking day. I do love to have your company here on my channel. And if you have enjoyed my content, please feel free to like or comment or subscribe. And that way I will see you next time. Bye.